All right, everybody, welcome back to the Horn Takes podcast, your Texas football and baseball talk destination. I'm Sean Redfern. It's Sunday. Hope everybody had a good Saturday yesterday. I hope everybody is going to have a good Sunday today. We had a good Saturday. When good Saturdays happen, we wake up happier on Sunday, right? We will do Drunk Sean thoughts today. And then later this afternoon, I will rewatch the broadcast. We'll come back tomorrow and we'll have the after action review where we'll dig in a little deeper, actually have some facts to back up what we say on the show. Today is all about just drunk Sean thoughts, things I thought while I was watching the game. Some good, some bad. Check us out on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Horn Takes. If you just like to listen to podcasts, you can get us at Apple Podcast, iHeart Podcast, Spotify Podcasts, or you can go to horntakespodcast.buzzsprout.com. Find all the episodes. They're up on all those places all the time, every single time. That's what we do. Let's get into it. These drunk Sean thoughts. We're 1-0 in the SEC, 5-0 in the season, and that feels really good. There's a lot of teams that wish they were 1-0 in SEC play and 5-0 on the season. It wasn't the greatest, prettiest win I've ever seen, but a win, and a pretty decent win. Kind of how he said on Friday. And by the way, folks, you guys, I apologize. I did the absolute most old person thing in the world on Friday. I came down here into the basement, my mom's basement. Just joking. People just make jokes about how I'm podcasting from my mom's basement, but it's really my basement. Come down here, do the show on Friday. I thought it was a pretty good show. I go upstairs, and for whatever reason, I usually just go right to work, getting it cut up a little bit, getting it up on YouTube, getting it up on Buzzsprout, so that shoots out to all those podcast places. And all I did was clip my prediction for the game, which you can find on TikTok. Always cut these up and put videos on TikTok. Sometimes put them on Twitter too, just depends on how long they are. But yeah, I got that clip and then I just deleted everything. Didn't put it on YouTube, didn't put it on Buzzsprout. So if you were anxiously awaiting a show on Friday, I apologize. I was distraught. I found some utility I thought would, I didn't want to pay any money. I was just going to see. I know there's a little Windows utility that can supposedly sometimes find lost files. Could not get it to work, folks. They're gone forever. Kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. So I said on the show on Friday, I said, man, I think this is going to be the first time that Texas doesn't cover this season. I think they're going to start off pretty sluggish. I think this is a trap game for Texas, of sorts. I think a lot of times when people hear trap game, they associate losing the game. That's fine. But I think you can have a trap game where you just don't play well. You got to battle a little adversity. I think that's what we saw on Saturday. I couldn't tell you why, but Texas just did not start out very well, and they were really sloppy. Penalties, fumbles. Jaden Blue fumbled the ball twice on Saturday. I've always defended Jaden Blue when it comes to the turnovers because he has had a few turnovers. I think he's had 5 fumbles lost in not a lot of carries at the University of Texas. I'm pretty sure he fumbled one last year in the Sugar Bowl. I know CJ Baxter did. But I've always kind of just defended him and said, what he can do from a home run perspective, pretty outstanding. And I'm not down on Jaden Blue today. I still think he's the most talented running back on the whole roster. But he's had a rough go of it, and so hopefully he'll take this bye week, work on that, because that's a mental thing, man. We talked about it too the other day on one of the shows. Interceptions are different than fumbles. There's a lot of different ways an interception can happen that might not necessarily be the quarterback's fault. To me, holding on to the football is just about being smart and effort. Always got to secure the ball, man. That's a tough one. You start turning the ball over too much. It's really tough to win games because you're giving up possessions. Sark took points off the board yesterday. I was standing in my pool and I'm just screaming. What in the hell is he doing? I hate taking points off the board. I don't care. I can't remember if they got points on that drive or not, if they actually converted on fourth down. I don't think they did, which made me extra more mad. That early in the game, I just do not understand taking a field goal off the board. It makes no sense. And I get he wants to be aggressive. I get he wants to, all gas, no brakes. Man, I get it. And maybe it was just he wanted to send a message to his team. I'm not inside Steve Sarkisian's mind, so I don't know. I don't know exactly what he was thinking. I just think there are very few reasons to ever take points off the board early in a football game like that. Is not one of those reasons to me. Thought Arch had a really, really good bounce back game. I don't know. I don't know what his stat line was, but he looked really good after that bad start last Saturday. He looked real good. He looked damn good. Throwing it all over the place, dropping dimes, man. His I don't know what his stat line was, but I think it was pretty good. And I think, man, that Jonte Cook drop, that would have added to it. DeAndre Moore had himself a day. 2 big catches, 2 touchdowns, I believe. He he must be him and Arch must like be on the same level. Like they must have a good chemistry going. That's the first person he threw the ball to when he came in the game that Quinn got hurt. He finds him again this Saturday. This Texas team is really, really good on the outside, man. There are so many good players on this team. I was watching. I don't even know. I think it was. I think it was like a little drag to man number 7, the kid from Alabama. It was a little drag to him, and he just outran these guys to the corner. He is so freaking fast, man. And I just said, man, they are so good. Like even when they do step on their dicks, they're so talented. They can just get out of it a lot. It is crazy how explosive this wide receiver group is. The whole group of them. I don't. I'm trying to remember, man. I don't think we've seen this many different wide receivers at Texas that can just blow the top right off the defense. That has got to be hard to defend. Usually, you have your guy. There's a guy is running deep. You got your little screen guy. You got your over the middle guy. You just don't usually have teams with this many dudes that can just take the top right off the defense, and they do. It is ridiculous. I don't think we've ever seen that at Texas. Honestly, this many. Good to see some pressure from the interior defensive line. I think we saw some. I took that note early. That drunk Sean thought that we were talking about it. That the edge pressure has just been outstanding this season. And now they're starting to get home. They're starting to rack up some sacks, but the interior just it was solid, but it wasn't really good. It wasn't like it was last year. Last year we had the opposite problem. The interior could freaking get up the middle, cause all kinds of havoc, but all the quarterback had to do was step outside the pocket a little bit, and there was no pressure off the edge to contain him, keep him there, or just sack him. And this year we had the problem of the edges are killing it, and the interior is not there to meet the quarterback when he steps up. Now they're starting to get some pressure. And I don't think it's been bad. It hasn't been bad up the middle. Don't confuse me. Just I mean, I don't know that we'll ever see it. I don't know that we'll ever see 2 defensive tackles like we had last year. I mean, they were ridiculous. Long runs seem impossible for this offense. We have not, short of the running backs. I know Arch Manning busted off a 67-yarder. He busted off a long one in this one too, I think, that got called back. But the running backs just cannot get through that second level and get into some space. I don't know what's going on. I really don't. I don't know if people aren't blocking downfield, like wide receivers aren't blocking downfield. Because generally that's what you see if they're not. If you get past that first level, you get into the second level, there's just too many people. That's what it seems like. They just cannot get, even on the longer runs, man, they just cannot get loose. And I don't think it's them. I think there's just too many bodies around. I knew we weren't going to cover this spread. I just talked about that a minute ago. We talked about that on the show Friday. Just felt like, all good things must come to an end. In the severe ass beatings that Texas was putting on people, just not sustainable over time. Every single team, elite team, has a game like Texas had Saturday. I think the cool thing is, maybe 2 years ago Texas loses that game, and instead now we're just complaining about only a 22-point win in the mighty SEC, by the way. In the battle of C.J. Vogel and Sean Redfern on picks this year, and I'm talking like picking the score, we've been really close all year, our picks, until this game. He had 55-6, I think. I had 41-6, I think. I come out on top, baby. I came out on top. I predicted that one almost exactly. Slow start. They'd end up getting it done. They didn't even get it done as bad as I thought they would end up getting it done, but they got it done. And by God, at least we aren't Ole Miss. For fuck's sakes. You don't want to be a good team playing the Cats, man. I don't know. I don't know who they played last week, but I think they lost. And it wasn't a good team. And then they go into Ole Miss, and they played a hell of a game defensively. A hell of a game. Ole Miss had been like murdering people, a lot like Tennessee had been murdering people, but we knew they hadn't played anybody. So Texas fans, I know it wasn't the prettiest game. That's all right. They got the W. At least we didn't have to wake up this morning and sort of pinch ourselves and say, was that real? Did we lose? Did we really lose at home to a bad team? And I don't know that Kentucky's a bad team necessarily. They've already taken Georgia to the brink. They took Ole Miss to the brink, and they got it done. So there's 10 Drunk Sean thoughts after the Mississippi State game. We'll be back tomorrow with the after-action review. It's hot outside today, man. I'm about to go get in the pool. Find us on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Horn Takes. Give us a subscribe. Give us a follow. Won't cost you guys a thing, but we appreciate the support. You can email me at horntakespodcast@gmail.com. About your questions, comments, concerns, and criticisms. I love them all. Man, finish out the weekend strong. We did it, Texas Longhorns. We are now 1-0 in the SEC. Let's get healthy. Let's get some guys back, and then let's go beat the hell out of Blow U. Get hooked.